Good Friday morning, everyone, and welcome into today's daily Bible reading for October the 4th. Today we are reading together Psalm 119 and verses 73 through 96. We'll be covering the Yod, Kaf, and Lamed sections of this portion of the Psalter. Thanks so much for taking some time to read along with me today. I appreciate your patience with me this week as the schedule's been a little funky and a little different than usual. Lots of things going on this week, trying to fit everything in here as best I can before we take off on our trip. So again, thank you so much for your patience, and I hope our reading today will be a blessing to you. Let me go ahead and get the text up on the screen, and we'll read along together here in Psalm 119. Again, we're reading verses 73 through 96, the Yod, Kaf, and Lamed sections. Three themes, again, that we're going to see from within each of these sections. The first theme in the Yod section, I would describe as having a desire to learn, and that's going to be directly connected to the one who gives knowledge, being God. The second section, the Kaf section, the theme of longing for God. And then the third section, the Lamed section, the theme being confidence in God's certainty. So let me go ahead and read along with you here, beginning in Psalm 119 and verse number 73. Your hands made me and formed me. Give me understanding so that I can learn your commands. Those who fear you will see me and rejoice, for I put my hope in your word. I know, Yahweh, that your judgments are just, and that you have afflicted me fairly. May your faithful love comfort me, as you promised your servant. May your compassion come to me, so that I may live. For your instruction is my delight. Let the arrogant be put to shame for slandering me with lies. I will meditate on your precepts. Let those who fear you, those who know your decrees, turn to me. May my heart be blameless regarding your statutes, so that I will not be put to shame. Verse 81, the section that each of the lines in the Hebrew text begin with the Hebrew letter Kaf. I long for your salvation. I put my hope in your word. My eyes grow weary, looking for what you have promised. I ask, when will you comfort me? Though I have become like a wineskin dried by smoke, I do not forget your statutes. How many days must your servant wait? When will you execute judgment on my persecutors? The arrogant have dug pits for me. They violate your commands. All your commands, or excuse, they violate all your instruction. All your commands are true. People persecute me with lies. Help me. They almost ended my life on earth, but I did not abandon your precepts. Give me life in accordance with your faithful love, and I will obey the decree you have spoken. Verse 89, the Lamed section. Yahweh, your word is forever. It is firmly fixed in heaven. Your faithfulness is for all generations. You establish the earth, and it stands firm. Your judgments stand firm today, for all things are your servants. If your instruction had not been my delight, I would have died in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts, for you have given me life through them. I am yours. Save me, for I have studied your precepts. The wicked hope to destroy me, but I contemplate your decrees. I have seen a limit to all perfection, but your command is without limits. Psalm 119 and verses 73 through 96. All right, looking at these three sections again, the first theme in the first section, verses 73 through 80, I would describe as having a desire to learn. There's a connection that's made within this text between God, between Yahweh being the creator and Yahweh being the lawgiver. And of course, both of these two things go together. For the one who creates has the right to establish law over that which has been created. Again, as parents, those who are parents understand this very well. As the ones who create the children, we have the right to tell the children what to do. Yeah, maybe you're a pet owner. You, as the pet owner, you take care, you provide for the pet, you have the right to tell the pet what to do. As maybe a boss, an employer with employees, as the employer who provides for the employee, you have the right to tell and to direct the employee in what to do. We see that here within this text. Your hands made me and formed me. There's a good Genesis echo there. But your hands formed me and made me, so give me understanding. So your hands formed me and made me, so you are the one I must go to for understanding. The Creator has the ability to teach and to instruct and to lead the created in learning. And after all, that's the desire of the author. I want to learn. I give me this understanding so I can learn your commands. So he made us. He can give us understanding. We ought to want to learn what God would have for us to know. So those who fear you will see me and rejoice, for I put my hope in your word. I know. Notice the understanding, knowing, learning language. We see that in verse 73. Give me understanding. Verse 73, so I can learn. I know. Verse 75, your instruction. Verse 77, I meditate on these things. 78, I know your decrees. 79, so just a lot of language here of knowledge, understanding what God has given. Again, as the creator, he has the ability also to give the law. So it is incumbent upon us as the created to learn the law, to learn the instruction, to know the precepts of the creator. So back to verse number 75, I know, Yahweh, that your judgments are just and that you have afflicted me fairly. That draws our minds back probably to yesterday's reading in verse 71. It was good for me to be afflicted so that I can learn your statutes. The idea here as well might be that of discipline. It was good for me to be disciplined so that I can learn your instructions. So maybe that's the idea here, that Yahweh disciplined or afflicted the author fairly. And in fact, that's one way to learn. Because here's the thing, we know with kids and with pets and other things that we're trying to teach, that you can tell them something, you can give them an instruction, a command, do not do this or do this thing, and they either do it anyways or they don't do it anyways, and we give discipline, and what does that do? Well, that also teaches and instructs. So there's many different ways to learn. Sometimes we learn just through word. Sometimes we have to learn through discipline, though, however. And that's the idea, I think, behind what the author is saying here. Your faithful love comforts me. As you promised your servant, may your compassion come to me so I might live. For your instruction is my delight. Again, there's a joy and a delight here in learning the instruction of Yahweh. But that's not what everybody does. We see that in verse 78. There's arrogant people that need to be put to shame. There are people who are slandering him, slandering the author with lies. Again, these ones don't care to learn Yahweh's instruction, and they certainly don't care about those who are striving to learn Yahweh's instruction. So I will meditate on your precepts. Let those who fear you, those who know your decree, turn to me. May my heart be blameless regarding your statutes so that I will not be put to shame. Here we have the idea of knowing the decree is one thing. Having a knowledge of something's one thing. But do we put that into practice? Do we put it into action? That's what we see in the last couple of verses, I believe. Let those who fear you, those who know you, let them do something. Let them turn to me as I strive to do the same thing. May my heart be blameless regarding your statutes, so that I will not be put to shame. Again, is that the heart just knowing the statutes? No, I believe that's the heart knowing the statutes, but then also implementing that teaching as well. So the first section here, having a desire to learn, recognizing God as the creator and the one who also is the rightful lawgiver. The second section, verses 81 through 88, the Kaf section, the theme here, longing for God. I long for your salvation. I put my hope in your word. It is obvious within the psalm that the author is experiencing a difficulty in this section, that there is some trial that he is going through, and it seems like it's at the hands of particular people. We see in verse number 84, there are his persecutors, arrogant people have dug pits for him. They violate your instruction. They persecute me with lies. They almost ended my life. Verse 87. So the author here is in a great moment of difficulty and trial. He seems to be under attack in some way. So what will he do? What is his response to the mistreatment, to mistreatment at the hands of other people? Well, naturally, in this type of situation, we see his emotional state. My eyes grow weary, looking for what you have promised. I ask, crying out, when will you comfort me? When will you comfort me? How many days must I wait? Verse 84, when will you execute judgment on my persecutors? So all these things are taking place. And the natural reaction is to become weary, to become distressed, to become discouraged. To become discouraged. Again, natural responses to the situation that the author is going through. However, I want to note that the stress that he's feeling because of the situation does not outweigh his faith in God. Because notice this. Yes, my eyes grow weary from looking for what you have promised. And yes, he's asking, when will you comfort me? Yes, he has become like a wineskin that's dried by smoke. But notice the last line of verse 83, I do not forget your statutes. I do not forget your statutes. Even in this great moment of difficulty, the desire and longing for God remains in that the author maintains faithfulness. All your commands are true. Verse 86. They almost end my life, verse 87, but I did not abandon your precepts. So give me life in accordance with your faithful love, and I will obey your decree you have spoken. So again, the idea here is in this moment of great trial, the longing that this individual has for God leads them to maintain faithfulness and to reach out to him for rescue and for relief in this moment of distress. There's a great dedication to God that is being displayed here by the author, and it's such a wonderful example for us of how we should behave in a similar situation. The Qaf section, verses 81 through 88, longing for God. Our final section this morning, third section, verses 89 through 96, the Lamed section. The theme here I would word as confidence in God's certainty. Confidence in God's certainty. There is the eternality of God's of just his word, of him himself, everything that pertains to God. There is an eternal nature to that. And that's what's being described within this text. Verse 89, your word is forever. It is firmly fixed in heaven. Your faithfulness is for all generations. You establish the earth and it stands firm. Your judgments stand firm today. So the thought here is that God's word, God's existence, God's reality, it is maintained. There's nothing that is going to cause it to fall. Again, God is not dependent upon anything else, and he is not truly affected by anything else. He stands alone by his own reality, by his own power, and by his own strength. So therefore, we can use that to our benefit. We can use that reality to our benefit. Verse 92, your instruction has been my delight. I would have died in my affliction. So maybe this is an idea kind of like what we've seen beforehand in some of these previous sections about, I was walking the wrong direction, or I was doing this and you afflicted me, or you disciplined me and I turned back. So maybe that's the idea here, is that this discipline turned the person back so that they would not die in their affliction. Or maybe the instruction of Yahweh, because it is the delight, would keep them from doing this. So if your instruction had not been my delight, meaning that because it was this person's delight, he did not die in the affliction. Again, was that he never got into the wrong path, or is it that the discipline of it turned him back? Whatever the case may be, this instruction gives life and hope, and that's something that can be firmly trusted in. Why? Because the word itself is forever. The word itself is firmly established. I will never forget your precepts. For what reason? For you have given me life through them. I am yours. Save me, for I have studied your precepts. Again, there's a desire here and a recognition for stability that belongs to God and those who trust in him. They will never be shaken, as the psalmists have written in previous psalms. They, just like the word, just like the precepts, just like the understanding, those who trust in Yahweh, they will never be shaken. Yes, the wicked hope to destroy me, verse 95, but I contemplate your decrees. Notice I don't focus on that. That's not something that consumes me. But instead, I focus on your decrees, because I've seen a limit to all perfection. Everything that is created has a limit. But your command is without limit. Your command is without end. your command is perfect. It's perfect. No person who has ever truly relied and obeyed and trusted in God and his commands has ever fallen. That's just the reality. The problem is that whenever we don't do that, whenever we don't trust him like we ought to, whenever we don't have confidence in him as we should, whenever we don't obey his commands or live by his precepts and instruction, that's whenever we falter. That's whenever we fall short. That's whenever we run into great difficulties that seem to overwhelm us. But what we learn from this particular section here in Psalm 119, the Lamed section, is that we need to have confidence in God's certainty that his instructions are perfect. They will always lead us to do the right thing, and we need to have confidence in that and express that confidence by actually doing it, by believing these things, by doing these things, and then experiencing the blessings of God's stability that he could bring us in this very, very wild and crazy life at times. If you have any questions or comments about these three sections, the Yod section, the Kaf section, or the Lamed section, please feel free to leave that in the comment section below. And I appreciate you taking some time to read along with me on this Friday. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And I know everybody's looking forward to being together on Sunday for our Bible studies at 10 o'clock. And then Jim Thomason will be preaching in the worship assembly at 11 o'clock on the topic of forgiveness. You'll be very blessed, I'm sure, by what he has prepared to say. And then we'll be back at it again on Monday, reading together the next three sections here in Psalm 19, the Mem section, the Noon section, and the Samek section, Psalm 119, verses 97 through 120. Looking forward to reading that with you then. Please continue to be in prayer for all within our church family, those who are pregnant with little babies, Hannah and Alex, those who are traveling or who are away, helping people who are trying to recover from the horrible devastation of the storms. Caden and Zach, last I knew, were in Western South Carolina. So please be praying for them and others who are traveling as well. Bill with his upcoming surgery, Jeff with his upcoming work trip. So many things going on with our church family. Many, many things for us to be praying for. I encourage you to be in prayer for everyone and all the different things that are going on. And I know everybody will appreciate that love being shared between all of us. Again, have a great Friday, everyone. See you on Monday. Take care and God bless.